Hello everyone, it's your favorite FGC VTuber, and now we're going off with Season 2. You guys already know they might be a bit late, whatever, that's the usual things and whatnot. And again, big thanks to all the big subs that we got from the last video, and of course, feel free to put your topics for you want from anything. But this time we're actually going to be joined by special guests, and I'm surprised I haven't had them on here before, nor in any of the other videos. We have Coldy-chan. Say hi, Coldy.
Hello, Bloopas and Bloopa Death.
No, nothing more?
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough. And Vani?
Hello, I am Vani Foxtrot. I am the keeper of the Astera Archive, and welcome.
Stream on Twitch. I'll have the links down below. Cool people. And with the first question I want to start, I guess for both of you too, is Coldy first, is what kind of games do you actually play?
Well, that's an interesting question. So, in what types of games I play all around genres. I kind of am a huge fan of mystery and thrillers and action, but I love my adventures and puzzles.
And then is that what you primarily stream whenever you do get the chance to stream?
I actually, believe it or not, I stream a variety of games. Not sure if I'm saying that word correctly, but I kind of go where the flow takes me. So if some of my viewers want to see me play one game, I'll play that for a bit. But if I see something else that catches my eyes, I'll say, hey guys, let's go over to this game world and see what's going on.
No, okay, so you're like a variety streamer and you go with the flow. All right. What about you, Manny? What normally do you actually stream or find yourself playing?
For me, I do play a variety of different games in different genres. I usually don't try to intend to play horror unless it's like the aesthetic of it. But primarily is that I enjoy very story-driven games. Recently, I got into Final Fantasy XIV at the behest of both my significant other as well as Cold.
Ah, okay. And I can attest for sure if you want to get a lot of FF14 stuff, definitely go check out Vani and Coldy, whatever floats his boat, but you're there for Coldy, so it works out. And one thing
it's a boat, but it's a raft.
And I think one thing I think that's actually pretty good we talked about is so you also like one particular genre, you like you said puzzle and horror games, correct, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of them, especially when I can get horror and puzzle together. That's one of the reasons why I love Resident Evil, because they do a mix of both. I know the whole argument, Resident Evil is not a horror, it's a thriller, because there's more action in it than there is actual horror. But you know what? I always say the older games were horror. Like when you had to fight the Leech Queen, it was scary.
No, actually, someone is like a huge Resident Evil fan. Like, no, I agree with that. Like, don't get me wrong. They're survival horror. That's the better team because it's more about like surviving like the odds and obviously the tank ass controls. Because I can't do horror games like at fucking all. Like, I will literally get heart attacks and shit. Like, they scare the crap out of me, dude. Like, I get jump scared just watching people play. I mean, and Vanny, you said too, you're not much for horror. What are your thoughts? Are you like me, or can you not just handle them, or is it, what are your thoughts?
For me, is that it gets me in an anxious mood. But when it comes to it being the aesthetic of it, then I can handle it. So things like Resident Evil, well, I do watch others play them. It's more or less is that for me, it's more like trying to keep up with the inventory of what you have and whatnot in the situation you're in.
Oh, so that's
though I would say there is a small exception. I have played Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2.
So for you, so it's something that if the situation is like very stressful in itself, not so much like the actual like say like ghosts or spooks. It's like if the situation is really intense, that's what gets you.
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. Respect. And another good follow-up question for this one is for you guys, obviously for both of you, is what's one of your favorite game consoles of all time, and then what is also one of your favorite controllers of all time, in that order? Coldy first.
Oh, that's a hard one. So I'm gonna pass it over to Vanny first because I need to think on that.
Yeah, Vanny. Well, feel free to answer that one then.
Let me see. I would say it's a mixed bag for me.
And that's fine.
I would say the Nintendo 3DS, the PlayStation Portable are like my favorite. Well, and also with PlayStation 2.
Oh, okay. And what were some of your favorite games on those systems?
Well, with the PlayStation 2 it actually came from like a very niche series called .hack. Those are like one of my favorite games.
Okay, and then nothing. I mean, you don't have to go off more if you want. Like, so there was .hack. Anything for like the 3DS or the PSP specifically?
For the 3DS is actually because it's how much time I spent online with Pokemon with its handhelds doing the I was a shiny hunter back at that time.
Shiny hunting.
I even hunted shiny legendaries.
Oh, okay. And I mean, this might be a weird assumption, but I'm assuming since you had the PSP, you probably played Monster Hunter, right?
At that time, I was not into Monster Hunter, but I did play quite a few of the Persona games on the portable.
Ooh, let's go. Okay, cool. And then for me, like, just to give Coldy more time, I'm surprised I never mentioned this before on the Vibecast, is that well, it's not even that big of a secret. I'm clearly like a PS3 fanboy. I just love the PS3. Like, I know one of the main things they say for your favorite console is what you grew up with, and I tend to see that that is true. But I like it not just because from like, oh, it's something that because I grew up with PS2 and mainly PS2. I was NES was my first system. I got a PS1, but barely played that. I was a normal kid. I went outside and did all of the booga booga stuff, but PS2 was the main thing I played the most. But then when I transitioned to PS3, like, I went mad hard. And to this day, it's still one of my favorite systems because of the games it had, and I just love the hardware as a nerd. But that's definitely one of my favorite systems, right? It's just from double aspect, right? Yeah, that's just me, personally. And again, if some of my favorite games you guys already know, basically I'm like a mega Capcom fanboy. Anything they make, I just, fucking... And clearly, obviously, well, the bigger ones like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry. I don't know. And again, but at the end of the day, if we say all 2 favorite games, we already know it's Neo and Dio. Or wow, that was wrong with me. I cannot say it. Neo and Doom. I just mixed the words. Jesus Christ. But yeah, those we all know. But there's too many. It's a hard question. Like, but just you could just name some. Like, those are some of my favorite, and I love the Deus Ex series. But just to keep it short, and then hopefully Coldy, what are your answers? Oh, and my favorite controller is the PS3. I forgot to for Vani because they're handhelds. They're already a controller. And I'm assuming the PS2 controller. So, like, I mean, would I not be mistaken, Vani, if those would be your favorite controllers?
I would say if it's for a controller, I would say I like the PlayStation controller because it actually feels aesthetically nice on the hand.
Same.
Actually, what's funny is actually I played the PC version of Nier Automata with my PlayStation controller.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so glad that a lot of modern PC games just let you use PS controllers. Thank God. Like, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against the Xbox controller, but I just prefer the PlayStation one, right?
Oh, yes.
Yep. Cool, fellow PlayStation enjoyer. Anyways, Coldy, hand off to you now.
All good. So, yes. With that being said, I'd have to say some of my favorite consoles, and believe it or not, would actually be if it's kind of a mixed bag, as I had to agree, it's the Game Boy. I love the Game Boy, even to this very day. Then it would have to be the PlayStation along with Nintendo 64. Those were probably one of my 3 favorite consoles, and that's excluding PC because PC is not a console. Let's be honest.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But overall, in the terms of games, the thing is, this may sound a little biased, but I feel like in those eras, games were at their purest. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the competitiveness in today's moderate games, like with League of Legends and like all those $1 million win-'em games. But I kind of am more of somebody who likes the simpler times when games were made to be played and have fun. And I feel like back in the Game Boy days with Street Fighter 2, which is our background, I used to play the crap out of that because that was one of my favorite games. Not to mention the original Mario. That was also really fun. And I used to play Donkey Kong 64 all the time. Not to mention Mario Party 2. That was also really one I enjoyed a lot. To move on to the PlayStation, I actually had a few games I actually like to play on the PlayStation, the early versions. For one of the earliest games I used to like to play on the PlayStation was it was actually a Disney game. I forget what it was. It was something called this was when I was younger. It was called Disney Hollywood Skateboarding or whatever.
What the hell kind of game?
Basically, what it was is it had all the characters from The Lion King to Toy Story, and you could even make your own custom characters that kind of skateboard around in the different zones that were shown in the original Disney movies.
Interesting. I never heard of this game in my life.
I'm trying to find it for you later, but to keep the track rolling.
Yeah.
I later moved on to some more funner games. Like eventually Kingdom Hearts became something I really enjoyed. Though if I had to go into some actual games I do play today that I thoroughly enjoy, I would have to say Final Fantasy XIV is particularly one that can be played on the PlayStation and PC that is really fun because there's a diversity of things you can do. But if I was to backtrack and say some of the older games, I'm a huge fan of arcade games like Asteroid or some of the old versions. Yes. A lot of those games I used to be a fan of. I'm more into the retro. Go ahead.
That explains why you like Toho.
Oh, I love Toho. I can't get enough of Toho. If you, yeah, I was just about to go into it.
Yeah,
If
go for
you
it.
get me talking about Toho, I can't shut up about it.
Actually, I am curious. I mean, well, Vani, how aware are you of Toho? Because I don't know what the hell it is till to this day, to a degree.
The way I can explain it for those that are curious, Toho is basically its main games are mostly bullet hells. If you know what a bullet hell is, basically meaning there's a tiny little U at the bottom of the screen or at like the left or right side, and you're shooting your bullets at the baddie
While dodging the big bullets.
Yes, pretty much.
Mm-hmm,
Otherwise, you get dead.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
that's actually, and it's funny. So, actually, I guess we can go a little bit into this one. So, we said, okay, you like Toho and Street Fighter, and these will kind of correlate a bit. So, actually, tell the people here how we actually ended up first meeting, if you can recall.
Well, that's the funniest thing in the world is like I was streaming one day and Greatest Gaming dropped by my stream and saw that I was playing, and we kind of had a little talk here back there. Wasn't too sure about our conversation, and I thought he was just a passing by viewer. Sure enough, not even a week later, if I remember correctly, I decided to fire up my PlayStation and play BBtag Battle. And I run into this fucker again, and we ended up playing a few rounds. And we became best buddies ever since, really.
Mm-hmm. No, but the other thing is too, you wanted to approach me because you actually wanted to get good at the game, right?
Oh yeah. You told me that you were really high level at the game. I'm like, you know
Well,
what? I'm actually. I
You've
told
seen
you
it
I
with
was
my
gonna.
rank. Yeah, that's why when we ran into each other, you've seen like, oh wait, is this that dude I ran into? It's like, wait, what the hell? He's a platinum?
I was like, oh, you're platinum, nice. I was like, so do you do any of the PvP tournaments? And you told me, well, you train new blitz and all that stuff, and you said you would like to see what I have to offer. And I was like, well, I'm not sure if I would do it. Yeah, I'm not sure if I do BB tag battle tournaments, but I mean, sure, I'll show you what I'm capable of. That was yeah. That was the second time I ever got my face smeared across the dirt so fast.
Yeah, and that's how basically we met. You know, he just because I was going on. Because you guys already know, I started FGC Dojo, and still a bit after when I met Coldy. So it's fun fact. He's probably I think what third or fourth person I started teaching fighting games. Because I started seeing I was something that I personally started enjoying, and one thing because even thing I told was like, oh, I compete. Yeah, like I did compete, but I actually started commentating a lot at that point, and so I had a lot of spare time. I wasn't competing, so I was like, I want to help the BBtag community grow, and I felt like, what's a better way to help grow than teach new people how to play the game? And to this day, I still stick by that. That I think the better way, if you want to get new people in, try to be as welcoming and teaching them about the game as much as possible. And as we all know, we now have FGC Dojo, has had a couple of good, successful beginners tournaments, right? And of course, we had plenty of donations too from the community. Big shout outs to you guys. But yeah, no, this is like early. He's like an early nooblet. He's one of the OGs in a sense.
Well, it's kind of funny too, is because I didn't even really join any of your dojos, and when you wanted to see what I had, you were shocked to see how knowledgeable I was, even with fighting games starting off. And I told you, oh, this isn't really my first rodeo.
And that's where I want to get into mid transition. I mean, sadly, you know, Vani, not too much, so I feel a bit bad leaving her out, but because I'll ask her a question in a bit too, just to make it so she doesn't feel left out, because I feel bad. But the main thing I was getting is like, so what is it? See, we're already this is how fighting games. What actually made you get into like Street Fighter and even fighting games, and how did that make you actually? How does Toho later relate into that later on? Because you see what I'm transitioning, right? We go from Street Fighter 2 to the Toho, and the thing how you said it wasn't your first rodeo.
Well, it was kind of funny, really. It's because before I ran into you, and I know we're transitioning to Toho here, but to get to the story about Toho, I first need to actually tell the story about basically how I ran into you. So I played a lot of fighting games along with some other games because, as I said, I'm a variety or variety, however you say that funky word,
Variety.
streamer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I did a lot of games. I did a few fighting games. Now I was huge on Toho. I was gigantic on Toho, and I eventually was kind of looking around because I came across a slump. And the thing was, no game interests me. I tried playing this game, felt nothing. Tried to play that game, felt nothing. Eventually, I was just like, I don't know what to do. I guess I could look up. And I was like, you know what? I'm a huge fan of Toho. I don't want to see if there's some type of thing. And I just like, you know what? I'm going to be completely foolish about this. Toho fighting game. And then sure enough, it's download Hazoku or Soku. I'm just like, what? And so I go looking into this Turns out there's an actual Toho fighting game. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I was like, I gotta try it now. So sure enough, it was the best. It was the it was the best accident that I have probably ever came across in my gaming career. um, so I download the game and I actually play it, and I realized that I needed to watch a YouTube video on how to set it up because there was a little bit of progression that went into it. But once I got it set up, play it, I realized it was really fun. It was like a fighting game, like Street Fighter, but it had different aspects, and you could actually utilize cards in them. And it was funny because I got pretty good at it, or at least I think I got good against the NPC. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to stream this game.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to stream it, and then I come across this Toho fan where he's like, "Wait, you play Soku?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "There's a whole community of people like this, right?" I'm like, "There is." Like, here, let me take you to this. Let me take you to this voice channel thingy. So I go to join their software or whatever, and I'm like, I can only imagine how scary people might be. They might be super tryhards or whatever. I go join. They're like, they all be cheering over the voice. Crash me! Crash me! I'm like, huh. I was like, all right, this is a welcoming community. So they all began to show me how to play the game, Soku, or the Toho fighting game. Sure enough, I end up coming across coming across this one player. He wasn't the biggest fan of how I was playing because he kept beating my butt, and he's like, he told me to get better. He wants a challenge, and then I thought he was complimenting me because English wasn't really his first language. Then somebody had to come in saying, "Listen, do you speak German at all?" And I'm like, "I don't know that much German." They're like, "Just so we're aware, do you know what he was saying to you?" I was like, "Well, I thought he was complimenting me for getting better." He's like, "No, you're not used to the fighting community, are you?" And I'm like, "No, why?" He was telling you to get good. I was like, "No!" And they're like, "Listen, how about this? We teach you how to get better at the game, and in exchange, you let us teach you how to speak German. And that way, you can better understand them." I'm like, "Oh, so basically they have an easier time teaching me?" Or like, "No, so so you have an easier time understanding how they're basically calling you out." I'm
Yep.
like, "That works too."
Yep.
So that's how I ended up making friends, and it was a really good journey. Now, I had fun for a few years. I even managed joining a forums for the fighting game community at one point. But moving on, fast forwarding, I decided to basically at one point, the as all good things sometimes come to an end, Discord came out, and that VC we used, everybody kind of went their own way.
Mm.
Yeah. So with that being said, moving on, Discord became a thing, and so I went back to on my own journey of finding new and funner games. As that kind of happened, though, I decided, you know what? I really like the fighting community, so I think I'm actually going to join a tournament and try to win something. So I go to GameStop. I'm like, okay, I have $70 to spend. What can I do? And I went and I was looking at I had 3 different fighting games. There was Street Fighter, there was Dead or Alive, and then there was Tekken. And so I went in there and I was going to get one of those 3 games. First one was I thought about. I was like, yeah, I'm not playing Tekken. Sorry, I see too many people. I've seen players get into fistfights over that game. Uh, and so I was like, maybe not Tekken. So then I was like, all right, so let's see Street Fighter. Now this is the real kick in the pants. My memory serves me correctly. When I went to GameStop, they were actually out of copies of Street Fighter.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know much about Dead or Alive, but you know what? If there's a tournament, I'm sure there's gonna be players involved. So I was like, I slapped the $70 down, got Dead or Alive, and I went to play the game, and I was like, put it on my PlayStation, fired up, and my first expression was like, oh, oh,
He knows now.
oh. Other half of me was, you had to commit. And I was like, I spent $70. I gotta at least do one tournament because that $70 goes to waste. So I spent about 3 months training. I don't even go online. I sit in the lab room and I go training, practicing. And I get real good at a character that looks similar to my own avatar. And then I go online and I even fight my buddy from time to time. And the thing was, I got really kind of good at it. Now, cute, the upcoming tournament. I'm getting excited for it. And then, sure enough, 2 things happen. First thing happens, they get hit by a hurricane. They
Damn.
had to postpone. I was like, okay, they're going to postpone. And then I was like, that's fine. More training time for me, right? No big deal. And then shortly after the hurricane comes, COVID happens.
Damn.
And the tournament gets canceled outright. I was just like, son of a bloopa. So I was like, well, the tournament's canceled. All right. Like I said, doesn't mean I can't keep practicing. However, when I finally started to go online to try to get more challenges, I realized the online community for Dead or Alive was not as popular.
Is that as fuck?
Yeah. And so I was like, well, that's a kick in the bloopas. So with that being said, that's around the time when basically I was like, all right, I got to take a smidge of a break. And then I came across another fighting game, one that looked a little more anime cartoonish. I know a lot of anime fans are like, "Are you trying anime? It's cartoon," and I'm with you guys. I really am. Just hear me out. Um, so with that being said, I get BBtag battle, and I start playing that. Now, I imagine GG saw me streaming this at some point. That's how he ended up running across me, and because I don't believe hell would have to freeze before we just randomly stumble across each other. But sure enough, we did end up meeting each other again in BB. And I was like, oh wow, he's a platinum player. And so with that being said, he asked me if I'm really into fighting games, and so I tell him my tale about what happened with Dead or Alive. He's like, you know what you should get into? Add insert Street Fighter.
Well, it's actually, you told me more about Toho. That's the one you told me. I didn't even know about DOA until today, actually. The point stands.
Oh, no, I told you a little about I told you a little about DOA, but I didn't get too heavily into it. And I
That's
told you
why.
how I was really into the Soku because I told you that I did Soku before DOA. And then basically you told me, well, if you want to do tournaments,
Yeah,
you need to do Street Fighter.
Yeah.
And when you brought that up there, like, well, I'd get into Street Fighter, but I used all my money on DOA. So it was like, well, you could BBtag. There's tournaments for BBtag. And I was like, all right, I don't mind. And you're like, it's that moment when GG is like, don't worry, I got the perfect competitor for you. And he was like, later. And I'm like, who? And Lynn comes strolling right up into our PSN call. And it's like, yo, what's good? And I'm like, hi, Lynn. Hi. GG introduced us. He is like, now I want you two to fight. I'm like, I... Fair enough. Me and Lynn, we go up to the little device and we go to fight each other.
With the chibis.
Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom. We're done. I go down. I think that match consisted of most of me basically trying to break through the wall and run away screaming as Lynn grabs me by the ankle and slowly drags me back before literally suplexing me into a wall. But yeah.
Mind you, Litton was still learning too. He was still learning. He wasn't even good yet.
Yeah, he wasn't even good yet. Like, me and him went back and forth, but at one point I was like, oh no, my HP's low. Get me out of here. Yes. We became the best of buddies and we played like almost every day. And our group kind of expanded as I streamed BBB. Well, I should say BB, not BBB, but that's besides the point.
Mhm.
Anyway, moving on. And that was kind of how the history of me and GG met. Was basically through me getting into fighting games and eventually meeting GG. And then GG kind of later asked me more about how Toho had a fighting game. And I told him that, well, it's a little bit different because they have a card system involved with the fighting game. Now, for all of you who end up watching this video and know what Hazoku or Zoku Toho is, I was a bit of a Sakuya Izioi or a Ramelia main. I enjoyed fast characters. I know a lot of you probably Sakuya is not fast.
That's
She
fucking...
uses knives. And
Oh, the knife chick?
her knives are. Oh yeah, the knife chick is who can freeze time. She's scary good. No one plays Reimu though. Anyone who plays Reimu is frowned upon. She has too much plot armor. That's a joke. But
See, that's something the rest of us are not privy to. That is definitely an inside joke.
yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Hey, for those who get it, shout outs to you guys.
I do.
Oh, see, there you go. We got it in here.
But yeah, I'm sorry if I took up too much time. I'll
That's
let
the
you
point.
pick
You're
the
good.
narrative.
No, you're good. And one thing I want to go back to the whole Street Fighter thing is like, so obviously, but how did you first initially get in? That's the thing we're missing. And why do we have this lovely picture of Street Fighter 2 in the background, good sir?
How did I initially get into Street Fighter? Well, back when I was a youngling, playing on the Game Boy, not the Game Boy Color, just the Game Boy, I used to play Street Fighter 2 all the time. And Chun-Li was my main.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my favorite games of all time. And I did play other games, but I just enjoyed playing it all the time. And I don't think it was till I was older where I got into more online multiplayer games. Really, I was kind of a hard RPG game player. Um, but yes, the reason we kind of have the background of Street Fighter 2 is because that's kind of where it all started for me. Was I just absolutely just loved the game. I never really understood the story at first when I was playing it, because again, youngling. But I really did like the aspects of martial arts. And that's why basically when I was growing up, I kind of enjoyed a lot of games that had martial arts in them.
Okay, cool. Thank you for the breakdown, Lore. And then for Vani, this one will probably be way shorter. But we're not gonna get into it. Half of my channel is fighting game shit, so y'all don't need shit from me. I already commentate and fucking got cucked at CPT for $1 million, but we're not getting into that. That's not the point. That's how half of you are here. Vani, what about you? What's your experience with fighting games? I feel like you'll be a lot shorter.
Right.
It might be short or it might be long. Probably not as long as Cold, but I actually started on PlayStation, the original PlayStation, as
Woo!
a child. My father had gotten me a few games, and I really wanted to play one of them that was based off of the Looney Tunes movie game.
Ooh.
But I didn't get much far in that one. But my very first few games on that PlayStation was Tekken and King of Fighters.
I knew it. You going? Sorry, go ahead.
So I never really got that good at them, but whenever I occasionally went to our local mall or any malls in general, I see Tekken or King of Fighters. It kind of brings that nostalgia back to me, and I noticed that as I got older, I got a little bit more better coordination. Now, mind you, when I say younger, I'm talking like five years old.
Squishy.
Yeah, very squishy. But at the time, I guess much like Coldy, I liked the martial arts aspect of it, and I guess it kind of fueled my want to learn how to, especially with the Tokusatsu show, Power Rangers, if anyone knows. I actually am a black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh gosh, she's gonna beat our ass.
So a little lore aspect for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But to get onto more the fighting game aspect is that Depending on what the game was, if it as like a franchise that I liked, I would get into it. And the one I got really, really, really into was, and I'm pretty sure GG will probably squeal about this like a little girl. I really enjoyed the Persona 4 arena games,
Woo!
especially Ultimax. I was expecting the squeal.
That was the squeal.
But I got really good at the arena game, but when Ultima finally came out, because that was like one of my favorites because it had Persona 3 characters in it, mostly for that. But I got really good at it. I was not the best in the leaderboards, but I did it to pass the time, and it was really fun. If I could give the characters I was a main at, I was a mix with Mitsuru and Ken / Koromaru.
Yeah,
Those were my mains.
Top tier.
I occasionally did try other characters, but those were like the ones that I jived with. I much like Cold, I like characters that are quick and are fast.
Oh yeah.
But going from there, I did try out Blaze Blue Tag, mostly because I heard it had characters from Melty, Persona, Ruby, and of course its home game, the Blaze Blue characters.
Yeah.
I didn't get that big into it, probably because it felt like it kind of felt the same thing I had with Ultimax, honestly. Didn't feel that much improved. And I didn't really have any much connection with other characters.
Oh, if you don't mind me asking, do you feel like also part of the aspect was the fact that they completely changed the control scheme from Ultimax to BBtag? Do you feel like that also was a barrier entry to you?
I would say that might have been the case, but it also kind of felt like I felt like with Ruby's characters, they kind of felt tacked on, and some of the interactions didn't feel like, even in story mode, they didn't feel they felt like chemical. They didn't feel genuinely. They felt chemical.
I have to agree with that. Neo was a punching bag, unlike how she was in Chibi in the actual show.
Chibi! Mind you, you have to get the Season 2 DLC just to get the second part of the story. Like, don't get me wrong, I love BBtag, but I will not sit here and defend the faults that they charge 50. Let's charge an extra 10 for, the entire cast of Ruby, and the cast of 20 is too small for a crossover game. So again, like you said, she didn't even have her, Konohamaru, like, how so. But carry on, sorry to intervene.
It's fine. But these are actually two games I actually got into. These were mostly on my PC. One was Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah.
That was the one that I was introduced to because I heard of the character customizing part of it, and I heard that it had 2B from Nier Automata. So I was like, oh sweet, cool, and I got into that, and that was pretty fun. Didn't get that big into it, mostly because the character creation was pretty neat. But the next fighting game I got into, and GG will roll his eyes at this, I got into Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, and this is one I actually introduced Cold to.
Best introduction ever. I love that fighting game.
All right, so you guys were totally cutting this out. We're gonna edit that with saying Street Fighter 6 because Grand Blue can go die in a hole.
He doesn't like it because it's not popular, and it's popular.
Oh, you calling me a hipster?
He doesn't like it because it's popular.
That's just trash, bro.
Well, hold on. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
no, go ahead, Coldy.
Oh, well, I'll get into the nitty gritties after you finish your story. So go on, BB.
Fine.
Well, before I met Coldy and I got into Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, I was actually introduced to it by my significant other, which, thank you, dear.
You're welcome. I gotta beat his ass now.
But I mostly got into it because of a certain character from it, which is very, very handsome. He's just so cheekily and so, if I can say, sexy. Coldy knows who I'm talking about, but
oh yeah, Belial.
Yeah, Belial. Belial was awesome. Is really great.
I think the funniest thing was when you told me, "Hey, Coach, you're into fighting games, right? Have you ever played Grand Blue's fighting game?" I'm like, "I've seen the anime. They got a fighting game."
Yeah, and I showed him, and I told him, "Oh yeah, didn't you have a character that you use like some of your characters?" And then he showed me, and I was like, "She's from this," and you were like, I need this. But I introduced Coldy to it, and me and him, we actually both of us streamed our progress through it. And apparently, you had to unlock verses in it. You had to unlock player versus player mode.
It was silly.
Yeah, but me and him had a lot of fun. He pretty much thoroughly kicked my butt with Nirmaya.
I was a little surprised how fast I learned in that game.
I was like, "Am I playing against a computer here?"
I was like, "I'm finally playing as Nirmaya. Let's go! Go!
Yeah, he got too into it, but it never looked back, and we never looked back. We had fun with it.
Oh, we had so much fun, and I'm still grateful for you for gifting me that game. So you have my appreciation on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But to finish up is that once PlayStation Persona 4 Ultimax came to PC and it had both Arena and Ultimax on it. I've streamed it. I still haven't finished it, but it was like walking down memory lane. If like I was back home.
Ooh, that's nice. So that would be your FGC history in a sense, Ms. Vani?
Yeah, not that extensive. I have had a few games like no one really knows. I've had the Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament PlayStation 2 game. I actually even had the old Shonen Jumps in it to where it gives me a cheat code to unlock the Tagoro brothers.
Oh god.
Yeah, that shows you guys how old I am.
Oh no.
I do have a question.
What's up?
For Vani, actually.
Of course.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about Soul Calibur since you've played a bit of that?
I can't really say my history with Soul Calibur was really that extensive. I've heard of it. I know a bit of its history. The one I know in my friend group, at least used to be my friend group, was I saw a bit of it being played on the GameCube version where it had Link in it.
Yep.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's funny because I figured you would have played Soul Calibur 2 because that's like actually the most popular Soul Calibur almost everyone's played.
The one I played on PlayStation on PC was Soul Calibur 6. But I knew of the series, but I never played it myself. I always was curious about it, but never really got into it.
Fair enough. Okay,
right.
Nice. That's your Vani right here. Thank you. Actually, yeah, no, it was a surprising. I pretty also. I feel like you guys already know on the channel. Like basically, I would like to say like Coldy is I guess like a mid experience, whereas mine's is extremely unique, obviously. And again, I already done the channel. We're gonna go through it here. You know, there's a reason my ass is a filthy sweat. It's funny because technically these two played fighting games way more before I ever did. Yet I ended up being the sweat and I got laid into it. So it could go to show you just how, you know, people's journeys are with certain things and genres and games, right? Really weird. Like, and it's funny because whenever I first heard that her and her friend did Soul Calibur, I was like, I thought, oh, they probably came from Soul Calibur, because a lot of people again like that whole nostalgia thing. So I really like that story, Vanny. Really wholesome, nice. I dig it. I'm pretty sure a lot of people actually can relate to that one. So the funny thing is, Vanny would think in the FGC would be like, oh, that's the minority. In reality, she's more of the majority. Like most of the majority can relate to what her story is, whereas maybe a couple can relate to Coldy. Whereas for me, none of you are relating to me. But
I know we're filthy plebeians.
Hey, look, I like the nooblets. Like, you never see, I even have a term for everybody. I call them nooblets. You know, all the other nooblets also quite like it. But yeah, you know, that's a really good story. But big thanks for that one, Vanny. Actually, I like that one. So it made me smile. I was like, oh, that's a wholesome, adorbs little FGC story. I actually was not. I was just expecting, oh, I play Soul Calibur and that's it. So that threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I did want to mention, I did play a little bit of Mortal Kombat on the PSP.
All right, fair enough. Everyone's
because it had my boy Freddy Krueger on it.
Oh shit! Oh wait, he was the PC version too?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Oh, and last one too, I guess, because we didn't, I guess, run up again games in a little bit too. Is that you guys play on? Wait, okay. When you play at fighting games, do you play analog stick or D-pad?
I play a mix of it.
Oh, you're like me. Interesting.
I kind of switch between the two, so a mix.
Okay, well, fair enough. I remember they're at casual, lower level, so they don't really know what to really commit to in a sense. I'm primarily analog. We already know that I'm like one of the best analog stick players, but that's not the point.
Why now?
Analog stick's hard as shit. Like I can't stress this enough. I mean, I know when I may make this more about you two because we already talked about enough about me, but you guys are vaguely aware. Just to ask you guys, like how that people use like fight sticks, right? And then they use like the mouse, like keyboard. But you guys are you guys aware a bit of like what the conversation is around that about in any way, shape, or form or so?
Oh,
I
the
am
fight stick?
actually.
I do.
Like I guess one big misconception, right, was people say, "Oh, yeah, you're not a pro if you're not playing on fight stick." I'm pretty sure you two have heard that before, right?
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're using a controller or a fight stick, you're essentially doing the same thing.
Right. So the main thing we always tell is play what's comfortable to you. But one of the things that's why I think when it comes to hand ergonomics, I say this all the time. I notice a good example. Americans tend to like Xbox controllers because they have bigger hands, whereas Japanese and even like Mexican, not Mexican, right, tend to be smaller. So, oh, what happened? Wait, did you do that, or is the mic off, Vani?
No.
Wait, you did the meme thing right now, right?
Oh, I guess it did. Oh, grab attention for the mic or something.
Yeah, that
Oh,
sounds like I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It distracted me a bit. But the main thing I was getting at, so those who don't know, I'm surprised I haven't discovered this before. So again, so same for Vani, is the reason I do. I said just all curious thing because it doesn't really matter that much in the scheme of things, but it does like because what's comfortable, right? Like I said, some Americans prefer Xbox controllers because they have chunkier hands, and even like Japanese players don't really like Xbox controllers. Like it's ergonomics. That's why I kind of don't like. That's why like when it's your favorite controller, it's 100% personal. And the same thing is actually true for like say playing controller, and even do you like playing like some people like playing like I seen at a tournament someone played on a PSP. I was like, what the fuck? Okay, I don't know how they modded it to do that, but the biggest advice we give you is play what's comfortable to you. And the thing is, you don't really until you get serious. Like it's okay. Like I don't recommend analog stick for one reason. It is the hard mode of every single platform, just straight up. On a fight stick, you have your hand and you have a full 360 motion, and you can move your hand down and wrist. And there's even 3 different ways to hold that stick. There's the wine, the flat hand, and whatever, right? Like there's techniques discovered and everything. Again, even D-pad's fine, right? Because you can press down, forward, and not mess up. Like my problem is when I seen that, I was like, oh, that's cheating. I'm just gonna stick to the analog because I saw the little motion. But that was designed for arcade sticks, not analog sticks. And something I've noticed is a lot of beginner, lower level players will use analog. So people see, a lot of people use analog. Like, yeah, like if you're a casual, like I said, some people will switch in between. I noticed some people will switch because they don't. Again, when you're playing casually, it doesn't matter. You don't care. You're not trying to do the hardest combos on earth. But once you have money on the line, then that's when people start like, oh, maybe I should go into fight stick, this and that. So the bigger thing I say, it's super important for a lot of people if you want to ever do get serious, is honestly, you got to learn about yourself on your hands. Like, do you prefer smaller controllers or big one? Like, I notice a lot of people who like big, like Americans, fight sticks are perfect. They like having something big in your hand. And again, like it's fun. Like, something it's one part too is like what feels good and what's fun. And I can agree, arcade sticks are definitely a very fun platform to play on, right? And I even use it for old arcade titles that I play on my PlayStation. But main message I'm trying to get at is that don't be an analog stick player. Take it from one of the best analog stick players. That is literally hardboard. It's like the equivalent of those people who play like Dark Souls with like a Guitar Hero control. Because there's 2 reasons. One, you don't have as much space like an arcade stick. That means you can make mistakes way more fucking easy. And I can attest as someone who couldn't even do quarter circles. I would go back. I would do it too early, or I would overshoot it. I would jump. Like if you're doing it for fun, don't listen to me. I don't care. You want to actually get good? No, don't do that. Go to the D-pad. Don't do that. That's terrible. But yeah, that's why I was asking that random because I was curious. But again, of course, when you play just for fun, you're fine. So if it's comfortable for you, just stick with it. But what are your thoughts on this information, Ms. Vani? That play any control you want, just don't be an analog stick player.
I would say play what you feel comfortable with. If you play with the mouse and keyboard, doesn't matter as long as it gets the job done.
Yes, just definitely don't do analog. I swear to God, I cannot vouch it enough. Like it is, you are just doing hard about it. Don't do that. Unless you're a masochist like me, then have at it.
I mean, it's like I said, the thumbstick or the analog stick, it does the same thing. It all works the same.
Yeah, but it's hard as hell though.
It mostly comes to skill, I would say.
True. And then another one I want to say. Okay, so clearly, so you guys seeing that we got the cool little avatars. We already know I'm just a chibi enthusiast. I'll just change whatever the hell I want, whatever. And Vani, you don't have to answer this one if you don't want to. But what are the avatars we are currently looking at, and what's the lore behind them? Vani, do you want to start off first? If you want, if not, you can skip over. That's on you.
Coldy, did you want to go first?
It doesn't matter to me. You can go first, or I can go first. It's fine.
Okay. I guess since Gigi asked me, well, as for what my character is that conceptually she is a mixed breed character. A mixed breed meaning she has parents that one is a cosmic being, the other is a human, and she's more or less like my persona there's your Persona reference in there.
I was about to yell Persona too.
But as you can if you can see, is that I designed the silhouette of this character much like how they would have their the talk portraits in Persona, especially from 3 or 4 or 5.
You know what? I can see that now that you mentioned that. So does that mean you're also? I mean, sorry to this sidetrack a bit. So does that mean you're an artist then, ma'am?
I am.
Oh, okay. Carry on.
Anything I make on my streams, like that are art assets, they're made by myself.
Ooh, and quick one, do you also do commissions for anyone who's curious, or is all the rules there on your stream if they're interested or curious?
Yes, yes, all the rules are there.
All right, thank you very much. Carry on.
But to get back to my character's lore is that she more or less is that she doesn't know what her heritage origins are, so she kind of goes around much like what the race that she is adopted or came from. They are a race of I would say people, creatures. I would say creatures actually that do help out other worlds, but when it comes to conflict that seems that they cannot help the conflict, they essentially do what they did in .hack, is essentially erase or make the threat non-threatening, meaning they reduce it down to a more primitive form. So very much like how it is that what essentially like my character does is go to different worlds and helps resolve the issues in that world. And once she's finished, she takes a little bit of that world as like a memento and comes back to the archive where she stays.
And that's the lore, right?
That's the summary of it. Anything else is more or less stuff that I kind of put in.
Ah. Now, see, I was gonna do it, but my dumbass isn't signed into Twitch. I mean, sorry, Mini signed it. Have you heard of the lore song meme, Fanny? By Curious?
No? It sounds familiar, but it doesn't ring any bells.
Dang. Well, whatever. What I was gonna do was, I mean, whatever. Might edit it in. Probably I'll splice it in. But you guys know the lore meme song where it shows a bunch of flashing images and it says lore and it just has like a song in the background, and that's what we got right now. We got the lore, and I have it as an emote here. And I was like, shit, I wanted to put it so like, whatever. She might end up seeing it so you can get it, but it's a good joke. I'll post it to you later so you can get it. But yeah, that's the. And also, what's this lore for specifically? Is this like for role playing or a D&D campaign?
No, this is my personal character's lore.
No, okay, curious. And that'll be you as far as what's up with your picture and your artistry, right? So then we can move on to Coldy. Anything else you want to leave off on that?
May a star shine upon you to the end of your journey back home. Never wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Coldy, and then for you, what's the lore behind your picture and stuff? And are you also an artist?
I am indeed an artist, and my lore is a little similar to Vani's, but also a bit different. My character, as you can see on screen, is based off of a novel I wrote, and they're kind of a part of a few things. They're also my streaming avatar, or as you would like to put in Vani's words, a persona. Persona. But in essence, my character goes to different gaming universes, helping out where they can. So basically, let's say we go to the Resident Evil universe. When I'm streaming, I'd go to the Resident Evil universe, playing Resident Evil 4, rather than just being the story of Leon going through doing what he's doing. It's my character with Leon doing what he's doing, and sometimes I'll even draw up little arts of similar scenes. Like one time, it's still in the works, but I'm currently in Genshin Impact. I went there to the world at Genshin Impact one point, and I started drawing up a picture of basically Paimon, how she says Paimon can keep secrets, and then another scene where she actually ends up giving away a secret. My character says in the manga, Paimon, yeah, and then it immediately turns to a scene where Paimon's trapped in a pot and literally just has a doorbell of saying, I'm sorry. I am not the fan of Paimon Genshin Impact, but getting back to the main point at hand is, yeah, my character kind of goes from world to world, and me and Vani even have a little bit of collaboration going on.
Indeed.
Where my character is a shapeshifter. and one of their forms is called the Calliska form. And funny enough, it was a design I made, and I was working on the lore for it. But I became really good friends with Vani, and I found out that Vani is the keeper of their archive. So the thing was, Vani told me that she has trouble with some of her viewers from time to time that get to reality. So I was like, let's make it lore. So basically, the lore is Vanny Foxtrot was showing the archive to her fellow guests, and one of her guests decided to wander off despite not being told. And they saw a door that said "Do not open." What do people do when they see something that says "Do not do"? They do it.
Yep.
So my character, when they go to open it, my character knocks them out of the way, and my character gets sucked out into the Eldritch Belt with Eldritch creatures. And sure enough, my character ends up, ironically, from the lore, ends up getting eaten by one of these overgrown Eldritch beings. Vanny, I forget what happened, but Vanny's just losing it that her best friend just got eaten.
Bloody Christ.
The joke in the lore is and it was kind of a reference and joke to Naruto, if anyone's seen Naruto Shippuden, but Cold refused. My character refused to be eaten, so they were like, "All right, you eat me, I eat you back." Eventually, the Eldritch, long story short, spits Coldy back out, and Coldy ends up being pulled back in the Astar archives in a new form, which is the Calliska form. Which I'm sure we can have GG edit that picture in at some later point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so with that being said, Vanny, the keeper of Sarah Archives, quarantines my character's ass for. Vanny, how long did we say in the lore wise you quarantined my character?
I think, in modesty wise, I would say at least a week. That way, it helps with quarantine.
Yeah. Yeah, you quarantined my character, and basically there was a joke halfway through there where basically it's just like you asked my character, "Do you feel like you want to eat humanity?" And my character's response was, "If I say yes, will you let me out?"
The immediate locking, the door locking, so the door locking and latching happens.
Yeah, you see, I'm a bit of a novelist and an artist, and Vanny is an artist, so we like to lore build sometimes. But overall, that's kind of like the fun little collab story we got going. But overall, my character just goes from different worlds, or I should say, I just play different games and have fun with it. That's the whole point of this story building thing. And a lot of people are always like, "Well, why do you have personas when you stream? Why don't you just show your face?" Well, that's true. Some people like to show their face while they're streaming. Other people like to make a story to tell about it. Me and Vanny, we're storytellers. We like to tell a story while we're streaming.
Also, some people would rather not get doxxed.
Well, that and also it's like some of us do wake up or like the ass crack of dawn, and some of us don't have our makeup.
Right. You know, shout outs to all the homelets. You know, you're not a dude.
Yeah.
You know, I just go like,
But
all
yeah,
right, let's go. Makeup? What makeup? I don't got no makeup. Let's go.
we'll just put the PNG up.
I mean, look.
Yeah, it's surprising how me and Cold have very similar ways that our personas have a way of going to the different universes and helping them out.
They're
Yeah,
pricks.
because Vanny had. Yeah, because what the funny collab stories is like Vanny's character once asked, "Why does my character keep coming back to the Sarah Archive?" My character's like, "Oh, I'm a hero, but I'm also homeless." Now there was a samurai with red hair. I can't remember the name of his anime that was actually called The Wandering Samurai. I forget what his name.
Rurouni Kenshin?
Kensei? I
Rurouni
forget what his
Kenshin.
name.
Rurouni
Kenshin,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it was somebody referenced my character once to him, saying, "Oh, you're like him," and I'm just like, "I've never seen the anime." He's like, "Now, like, how am I missing out if I don't know what it's about?"
So, quick question for Colt. So, you said you do novels. Is there any way for people, like any work coming out soon, or would they go to your stream or YouTube? Also, you do some bit of YouTube, right? So people can look forward to it. And of course, like I said, if you guys, I believe you on Twitter. If people want to do commissions and stuff, they can go see there for your rules and conditions. Correct?
Oh yeah. And if you're wondering where you can see my stories, I'm working on the What's Pad. If you ever heard of that, What's Pad's where you post stories.
Mhm.
Is it called What's Pad? Hold on.
I mean, by the way, you guys will have everything posted, links below, whatever they would like to, so you guys can go and you know, watch them. Of course, Coldy on stream, they're both streamers, so that's the easier one, and they have links on there too. But we'll still make it more convenient, give you the Twitters, right? For Vani and of course Coldy, because they do Twitter.
Yep.
Yep, I was right. It is actually called Wattpad.
Oh, Wattpad, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, then they'll leave it like that as your lore, right? You don't want to give off any more lore, right? They can go and check it out later, right?
Oh, well,
They
I'm
can
not
be
gonna hog
surprised.
up.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hog your entire podcast with your
Nah, you're good.
podcast with all that. Yeah,
Nah,
no.
dude, that's literally like the point. You're good, dude. Oh, and then last one is, do you guys do any sort of like D&D or role play, and do you guys stream that at any time too as well? Oh, see, he's laughing maniacally. Vanny, you mind
See,
Yeah, go for it.
to make the answer and give it in is that have we made a broadcast before about our D&D sessions? Yes, we even did a 24-hour stream at that
Holy
point
shit,
at one
you
time.
did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
But we decided to make it a more private thing, considering it was that perhaps not everyone would be interested in it, and that was like one of the few things we were streaming a lot of. So we made the executive decision to make it more private, but if it was like a big event, we may probably do like a stream of it, possibly.
Oh, well, I'd sure like to, because I actually was someone that did actively, vividly lurked on those. So, but hey, you guys do what makes you comfortable, what you feel is fine. I won't force you, but thank you for the answer.
To give a little more context on that, the thing is, we didn't mind RPing or campaign showing the campaign over Twitch stream, but some one or two of our more regulars was getting angry because that's all we ever streamed, because we all had fun with it, and a lot of our viewers did like watching the campaign. At the same time, we could also understand that we are technically supposed to be, well, we're supposed to do a variety. How do you say that bloody
Variety?
word?
Variety.
Variety. Thank you. We're supposed to do a variety of games, and so we agreed that we'll do the bigger campaigns on stream, and then we'll also do some more games, because at the same time, it's like, yes, you stream what you want, but you also got to be courteous to what your viewers want to see.
Fair enough. Okay.
And that I can definitely say is that one part, aside from that one, is that we couldn't really play a lot of the songs we wanted to because of copyright.
Fuck.
Yep. That was the biggest reason, was because like I liked playing songs that helped match the scene. There were so many copyrighted songs. Just like, you know what?
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you guys for that one. And again, I look forward to the next time you guys actually are able to stream for sure. I like those. It's good background noise because I'm a happy-go-lucky monkey. And then a good transition we were talking about a bit before. We'll do it a bit, but clearly, and the one thing we have in common the most is we're all Persona fans in a sense here, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
I need to finish Persona 3, and I want to play all the Persona games, but I have played Persona 5, Royal, and Scatter.
Scramble?
Yeah, Scramble.
Yeah, but you haven't done Tactica yet. So basically, he's the noob enough, so don't spoil him on anything. 5, he's good. Don't spoil Tactica. I haven't even finished Tactica either. I love Scramble. Scramble's my favorite. Fanny, your thoughts on Scramble?
Not gotten very far. I know I've gotten to the point on the Twitch version where I got into Osaka.
Oh, well, you're almost done then.
But I can definitely say I do notice some technical I wouldn't say technical issues, but I guess development question mark
for sure.
I noticed from it. Like one is that it doesn't allow you to, like in previous Persona games, they allowed you to manipulate, if you want your background music a little lower, if you want the character dialogue a bit louder, that way you could hear them. They don't have that in the game.
Yeah, no, Persona Scramble was it's as much as I love it, don't get me wrong, I love it, but it was definitely a cash grab game for sure. There's no denying
that wasn't even my biggest pet peeve of Scrambled. I had an even bigger pet peeve Scrambled.
And what's that?
You had to watch 3 hours of cutscenes to start the freaking game.
Oh, he's gonna hate Persona 4.
Welcome to Persona in a nutshell, sweetheart.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like, Persona 5 wasn't like that.
Oh,
Persona 5,
no.
Persona 5, you had to like wait an hour to start the game. That's fine. No, I counted. It took 3 hours before you actually even got to start the game in Scramlbe.
You think that's bad? You're gonna have a hard time with 4.
Mm-hmm.
Persona 4, you go through a 2.5-hour introduction.
I am with it.
And I didn't want. Coming from Persona 3, I was like, "What is this?"
I mean, okay. See, look, and by the way, this is a good way to probably be part 2 at this one. Because, like, okay, that's our introductions. You guys, good luck, whatever. Now we actually get to talk. You see, look, this is where the game shit. But as you see, Coldy is like basically he's almost like the new He wants, whatever. Sure, we're not in Scramble, and then we all have our. See, we're talking about Scramble already, right? And
Listen,
to me,
I've done my research in Persona. I'm more than just a simple noob, like good sir.
Whatever, but compared to me and Vani, we're the I mean, I can't talk shit. I barely play. I just know the story. But the thing to me is like this super story focused game. I'm not gonna complain about 3 hours in a game that's mainly about story. That's just me. Like if it was like a game, I'm not here to play God of War, good example. But then it's like, no, you get the Persona treatment, homie. You're God of War, not God of Walk. Then you can complain, but not for a story based game. Like that's just me. I don't know. I like Persona 4's intro, but
let me explain a little. My problem wasn't that I had to sit and watch through basically 3 hours of cutscenes. My whole point here is that
bless you.
I enjoy the story for what it was, and I understand it's a story-driven game, but at least give the player a heads up that they're not going to be playing for 3 hours.
Fair enough. I think that's fair. Absolutely. And what was it that I was thinking about? See, Persona 5, my issue is I had the opposite. I didn't mind intro, whatever, but like it felt like every time I wanted to enjoy the school life simulator, the fucking game got in the way. If that makes sense, like, dude, I don't want to grind this done. Like, I just want to play high school simulator. And 5 was just too long too. That's just my complaint. I already went into a whole video. I won't get into it, but for me, I felt like that complaint you guys have with the intro. Like, dude, that's how 5 felt after the intro to me. Like, oh god, just let me play a game. I was in the middle of like eating burgers or some shit.
I was a personal fan of how long 5 was, actually. In fact, the fact that you were even allowed to pause the game was a blessing, in my opinion.
I mean, that's most games.
Yeah.
But actually, whatever. You can say PS1 games like pause. Like, no, you have to wait. You can't skip. You deal with it. Get to a safe point. But yeah, Vani, I know you wanted to say a wee bit more too. You were talking about Persona 3, right?
If I can give people a bit more details, that I have played Persona 3, 4, and 5, and I played like most of their updated ports.
Well, she's the big.
And my personal favorite being 3, with 5 and 4 being the very bottom.
Oh my god, she's a hater.
It's not that I'm a hater. I just have culture.
Oh, wait. So wait. Have you played at least 1 and 2?
I actually have played a little bit of them. But I'm actually more extensively of the story and its lore. Like, not like I'm talking about like the game's lore. I'm talking about like the overall like lore that comes from it.
Oh, you talking about like that timeline shit that it's like also connected to SMT kind?
That too, but also the more deep, methodical, the collective unconscious stuff.
Oh yeah, like the themes for those games, right?
Sort of, kinda, but yes.
Oh, well, but I mean, that's for me. Like I say, one of the things, good example, where like Persona 5's color is supposed to be like rebellion, right? And Persona 4 yellow is truth, and 3 is death. That's something that I personally always liked about the Persona games as well, right?
Well, when I talk about the collective unconsciousness, it talks about the archetypes which the characters get their theming from.
Right, like the Arcana.
No. I mean, like archetypal. Meaning, like, okay, to give a good example, obviously, the protagonist from 5, what's his theming?
I'm not gonna lie.
What do you think? What archetype do you think he comes from?
Shit.
The fool, the trickster.
That too, but what's another?
Right. See, I know that's just like, see, if it's not the Arcana, then what the hell? Like, damn shit. She look. This is Vanis. She's
basically what's another name for a like his code name comes from that.
Oh, Joker. Right.
Yeah, that's the trickster archetype. It's stuff like that.
man, you know what? I think she understands Persona at a deeper level that even I can't comprehend. Because I was like, wait, I'm over here focused on like, okay, the arcanas, the whole thing about society. You know, that's a meme in the P5 community. But I'm like, wait, what is?
Like, I could go into more details, like even Persona 1 and 2, about two driving forces that are in it that I think only a few people know of, like, their connection into the psychology that goes into making those games.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Well, that's fair enough. I've seen a couple videos about that part. So I was like, oh, okay. Now I get where you're getting at. Fair enough.
And I can't go into more deep depth of it because a certain bloopa doesn't know that yet.
Fair enough. Right? Yeah. No. I now get you. It's like, oh, I get. Okay. Fair enough. But
I do occasionally drop their names from time to time, and I even said during Persona 5 is like, why couldn't we have this? It makes more sense because of the creatures you see in the final dungeon in the third semester.
Oh yeah, I mean, but yeah, because by the way, you guys know, obviously SMT fan or Persona fan, like they have a lot of gods and shit like that, and I like how they do tie a lot of these things thematically to some of the story elements and shit, which SMT does amazingly, absolutely. And we're not gonna dive too deep into the whole SMT and Persona lore, and like, 'cause the amount of times I've heard that thing. Me, I just enjoy them for what they are, right? Obviously, and of course for Persona, I like the high school part the most, and SMT, lore, insert lore song. Plus, it's a really fucking good ass game. But yeah, as you guys can clearly tell, we're all pretty, just big. Like I said, clearly all lovely. It's just bloopas that experienced. I guess I'm mid. I don't really know where to put myself. I came for Persona, and then it came out the other end as an SMT fan. So I don't know what to tell you about that one. I still need to play like Devil Summoner and all the other ones, or whichever ones I feel like. And then Vani is she big brain out here. She's putting me to shame. But yeah, and then with that one, I mean, you don't have anything else to say. That's a good way to end it off as far as the Persona topic, right, Vani?
Coldy, did you have any inputs you wanted to give?
I did have one.
Okay, go for it.
So I was gonna ask, what are each of yours favorite persona, or what's your main persona for the between the games?
Oh,
that's a good question.
That's a very good question. Oh, here's the better one. Are we talking about like any persona or fiend summon, or can we include protagonist summons?
We can include protagonist summons too. Any persona from any of the games. Which one was your main?
Or how about like top 3, if anything? Like if anything, top 3 if it's hard, just to make it easier on us.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, and by the way, to mention my personal favorite is Persona 4 because I'm a basic bitch like that.
You're very vanilla.
Thank you. But yeah, Vani, we'll let you answer. What's your favorite persona?
Well, since it's your show, why don't you go first, sir?
All right, fair enough. Dude, I know it might seem, again, mega basic bitch, but if I were to pick my top 3... Okay, can we count SMT? Because, wait, no, some of them are in Persona, right?
Some of them are in Persona, but as long as it's in that Persona game, then I would count them.
Shit, that sucks because I assume they're all in the same thing.
No, there are some that are different.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because I'm thinking, like, in terms of gameplay-wise, I can't say Dante because he's SMT3, nor Raido because he's also SMT. It's like, damn it. Those are, like, my favorite ones.
I would say if we were saying about SMT in general, then I would say then they would be, yes.
Because they're good as fuck. And they're cool. Also, hey, look, we agree on something. You can't hate on me. But if I were to say definitely, I don't know, because I love Chad Yu is one of my favorite characters of all time in media next to Kiryu from Yakuza. So, yeah, okay, alright, cool. Yeah, the fucking, not Zeodyne. Wait, why am I forgetting his name? What's the main one? I know this stupid. How did I forget his name? I know the attack's called Zeodyne. What the hell's his persona again?
Which character?
You. What's his persona? I forgot already, which is weird.
Izanagi?
Yeah, Izanagi. Yeah, no, Izanagi's definitely one of my favorites, for sure. I know, again, basic bitch. Oh, I'm so special. But then also, what was the one from Persona 3? The death one?
You mean Thanatos?
Yep, yeah, there we go. I don't know why I'm drawing blanks. Usually I know these by heart, but those are the top. And then I think, okay, Lucifer. Those would be my top 3. I don't know if Lucifer's in any of the Persona games. Oh, we know he's in Scramlbe. Ha, I win. Those are my top 3. Yes. I know, basic bitch, but there you go. Those are my top 3 favorite. And if I had to pick one, it has to be, Izanagi, because I relate a lot with Chad Yu, even though I know he's basically kind of blank slate, but even then I still relate. But there you go. That's my answer.
Here's another question. Are we talking about base Izanagi, or are we talking about Izanagi no Okami?
Is obviously in terms of power and playability, obviously Izanagi no Okami, but like base Izanami is like, nah, that's humble. That's kind of the point. It brings me down to earth,
Mm-hmm.
But yep, there you go. That's my answer.
Okay. Simple.
I'm a
Some
basic
very
bitch.
simple,
Yes,
simple
I know.
answers.
Sorry, but anyways, go ahead, Vani. Sorry to cut you off.
Coldy, did you want to go next?
Sure. I would have to say, if I had to choose amongst three, I would, and BB already knows one of them. I would say it had to be Pandora, Phoenix, and Alice.
Oh, Pandora's not bad. Well, that's it. You not even more lore behind it. Just.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, if not, that's fine. That's good. That's fine.
I mean, one reason I like the Phoenix is because I've always kind of been a fan of the mythology behind Phoenix. There's really not much more that goes behind that. And honestly, if you're wondering why I enjoyed Pandora, it was more along the lines is I've always had a thing for the Greek mythology of Pandora's box. That's always kind of an interesting aspect I enjoyed. And when they brought that into Scrambled, I found that kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then there was Alice. I kind of just, like I said, I kind of just enjoyed the different twists they took on. Well, according to them, there's two versions. It was a certain twist on Alice in Wonderland, and then apparently it was also based on a folklore, the Alice they were going for. And Vivi knows that when it comes to yokai, I love yokai lore.
Weebs. And okay, so that's your answer for those, right? And then Vani, and before we switch, by the way, if I picked the fourth, it'd be Thor, because the same reason. I just like Norse mythology. Also, I'm a Marvel fan, so of course I'm gonna like fucking Thor. But Vani, your answers?
I do have a bit of a mixed bag with mine.
I'm with it.
I would say, out of like not no particular order, I would say Santos is my absolute favorite, being like one of my favorite personas out of three, because that's my first persona.
Also, it's cool as shit.
Yeah, nothing says cool like Coffin Cape.
Exactly.
And that I absolutely loved having Santos, and when I played Persona 5.
That was such
Hades,
a good DLC.
And to use one that's probably not really well known is there is Hades in Persona 2.
Oh yeah. No, that's it.
What?
Oh no, that's it. Just those two.
I do have another one. I'm just trying to recall the name.
Okay, well that's fine. Take your time.
Let me see.
When are we gonna have?
I would say, what was his name? I'm trying to remember. Here we go.
She's looking it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Which, by the way, when are we gonna have Obama as a persona?
Really?
The whole thing's about the subconsciousness and stuff. You know, come on. Well, you ain't gonna have the dude be like, I veto, and then it does like 50 damage. That'd be hilarious. Anyways, did you find it yet?
Yes. Thoth.
Thoth?
Azathoth.
Oh shit, which one's that one?
That's from Persona 5's third semester.
Fuck, man, it's been a minute. Shit. Huh. And any reasoning behind why you like the three? I mean, if not, I think you keep short on you.
Yeah, like I said with Thanatos, because Persona 3 was my first Persona. That in Persona 3 felt more compelling to me than it did when I went to 4. With Hades from 2 is that he's actually the ultimate persona of a character. His name is Ikichi. What's funny is that he actually shares the same arcana that I do in IRL. So I felt kind of thematically with it because he's also a Scorpio. Cool. But when it comes to Azathoth, is Maruki was a very interesting character in the third semester. So I can say from a stories aspect, with developing Royal, they could have weaved the story a bit more rather than it being the same story over and then having the new story at the very end of the game. But I can definitely say what I said before when it came to when I was like, why couldn't they have put this from the other games than these. Is what I'm referring to is that there's a lot of Lovecraftian in 1 and 2, but for it to not be certain characters from those 2 games, but to be something different, I'll accept it. But it is great to see a Lovecraftian persona being used again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the throwback. Kind of same thing how they brought back the feature that you can negotiate with demons, right?
That was one I was aware of until I played SMT myself. I can definitely say it is a welcome change, because it does make it a lot more easier than using shuffle time.
Yeah, fuck me and that goddamn. But yeah, there you go. So Persona. And the last 2 questions is I know I want to think about it once. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on chibis and why BBtag chibis are the best? Coldy, you go first.
I was actually going to ask for intermission because I'm being summoned.
No, that's fine. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks.
Let's see. Well, I mean, Vani, do you want to wait until he gets back, or do you want to answer the question while we wait?
I played the 5th.
So we'll wait then.
Then we shall take a break then.
Okay, cool, perfect. We'll be right back, guys.